Good evening, my fellow vampire lovers. The sun is going down, and you know what that means. It's time for me to record another episode of my podcast, The Beautiful Dead. As always, I'm your host, Lena Nazari. Go to Instagram, The Beautiful Dead Podcast. That's where I am the most active. You can go to my website and click on appearances to see where I'll be. The next one, for sure, is going to be October 25th at Vampa in Philly, which is very exciting. It's a special event, and I'm waiting to hear back about Animate Philly, which would be the beginning of October. And make sure you're following me on Instagram, because I will be at the Vampire Masquerade Ball in the French Quarter November 1st. So that means Halloween, I'll be in the French Quarter. I'm sure I'll be posting. I'll probably be posting all kinds of stuff. I might even go live, so make sure you're following me. So for those of you who've been following, you saw Subspecies 1, then 2, then 3. Last week was Vampire Journals with Tony from Hack the Movies. And now we're talking about Subspecies 4, Bloodstorm. And I was very transparent with you guys that I was batch recording like all within 24 hours so that I could have some time to write. And I've been telling you, I told you for the second one and the third one, there was a storm approaching. It just started. I don't know if you can hear the rain outside, but hopefully we get some thunder and lightning, because that would be awesome. And if the lights go out, it'd be even cooler, because then we'll be recording by candlelight. So let's see, maybe. I also switched from coffee to a little alcohol. So let's see how this goes. Let's break down Subspecies 4, Bloodstorm. Like all the other ones, we start with a recap of events. We see Radu's burning corpse on the tree. The tree breaks, which drops him into water, which is very convenient. It puts out the flames. He's charred, but the bloodstone is next to him, so he grabs it and stumbles back to the castle. So I guess we're just going to ignore the fact that big chunks of him were burning and falling to the ground, because now he's all in one piece. The opening sequence flashes all like things from all the previous movies, plus Vampire Journals. So Vampire Journals came out in 1997, and then this one came out in 98. So that's why I said chronologically, that's where we're at. So the car that sped away from the castle at the end of 3 is upside down on the side of the road, and the body bag that was in the trunk with Michelle in it is just like chilling out in the middle of the path. A woman pulls up, sees the wreck, and calls the police. While she's waiting for them to arrive, she opens the body bag, and Michelle starts to seize because of the sun, which I absolutely freaking hate the way that Michelle acts when she's exposed to sun.
Can you hear me? Don't be afraid. Try to stay still. You've had an accident. I'm a doctor.
It doesn't make sense, because we've seen the other vampires start to burst into flames, but she just like does a weird seizure thing, and I hate it. So she does her seizure. The lady pulls the bag back around her. The woman explains she's a doctor and will take her to the hospital herself. She throws the bag into her car and drives to the hospital. Inside the hospital, a nurse tells a man named Dr. Nicolescu that Anna is asking for him. He rushes out and says, "What's wrong?" They take the bag inside and put it on a table with a bright light, open the bag, and Michelle starts to seize again.
What's wrong with her?
This is a vampire.
So he zips it up, then he turns off the light and opens the bag and sees that she remains sleeping. And then he notices the bite on her throat and he says, "Anna, this is a vampire." That night, Michelle awakes strapped to a stretcher and is told that Becky, Mel, and the girl that they saved are all dead. Dr. Nicolescu flips on the day lamp and she starts freaking out again. He flips it off and says again, "This is a vampire." Anna asks Michelle for information and she mentions the name Radu Vladislav. But Anna says, no, that's an old wives' tale. Dr. Nicolescu doesn't care what Anna is saying. He butts in and asks Michelle if she tasted blood, and she admits that she has. Dr. Nicolescu says, "Stay with us and I will find a way to help you." So she agrees. And he asks her, "Where is Radu now?" And she's like, "I don't know, but he's not going to let me get away." We see that Radu is fully healed, so this dude really is like impossible to kill. He says all the time, "I can't be killed," and he's proving that. Dr. Nicolescu explains that the hospital used to be a monastery, so Radu cannot enter without invitation, because we talked about that in the first one.
A vampire must be invited, or he cannot enter sacred ground.
Anything that was once a holy place, the vampires have to be invited into. He tells her, "Don't leave the grounds and you'll be safe." Then he asks her if
Does Radu have the bloodstone?
Yes.
Have you tasted of it?
Yes.
Radu has the bloodstone, and she says he does. He explains to Anna that the bloodstone means a vampire can live without killing. Michelle says yes, but it has a dark side. It has driven Radu insane. He says he wants it because it could unlock ways to help patients. Then he gives Michelle bagged blood, which she drinks, and then she cries again.
It's not a problem. Please.
No.
Do not be scared.
You're not killing anybody, Michelle. It's donated blood. Why are you crying? Stop crying. Ugh. Radu's flying around, probably looking for Michelle, and he arrives at a stone building. He descends the stone stairs, and we see that he has the power of telekinesis as well, which is new. Then he encounters Ash, the music lover. The vampire that we met in Vampire Journals. We know that he made Ash. He is Ash's master. Ash and his protege Serena are feeding from a girl who Ash offers to Radu, and he feeds. I just want to say, Radu's makeup in this is so different from the previous ones. Like I said, from 1, 2 to 3, they like really fine-tuned the makeup, and he looked so good. I did not like the makeup in this one at all. I did not like it. Ash asks Radu why he has come to Bucharest, and Radu says, "Vengeance." Ash tells Radu he will do whatever is asked of him. Ash is running a casino and a brothel, which has made him very rich.
Our wealth has multiplied.
It is easy to profit from the corruption of mortals.
Radu tells him, "You will give me the 7th level as my resting place and stay away." Ash offers a victim for the night, but Radu says he wants Serena instead. Cut to an officer arriving to the hospital to question Anna about the crash and if there was anyone else there, and she says there wasn't. She says she left the scene because there was nothing more she could do for the crash victims, and she had hospital patients that she had to get to. The detective explains that Inspector Marin, was following the crash victims, and Marin has not been seen. Cut to the field where Marin was, and he comes to after being attacked by Radu. In the previous film, we saw the end of 3, he was like stabbed in the throat by Radu. He drives back to Bucharest to the police station, and he is starving. So he takes a big bite of sandwich and then spits it out. Then he drinks soda and spits that out too. So that's something new. Vampires cannot eat human food or drink. All they can have is blood. Then he sees a rat and he feeds from it, so that's how we know that he's been turned. Back with Radu, Serena says, "My master is afraid of you, but I am not." And Radu says, "You should be." She asks Radu to destroy Ash since he holds her there prisoner, but Radu says,
It is forbidden to destroy our kindred.
so that's something new. There's a rule amongst the vampires that you cannot destroy your own. He says, "Do you desire to drink the blood of saints? All you have to do is obey me." So she agrees, and he lets her drink from the bloodstone. And while she's enjoying whatever the blood does to you, it looks like it makes you high, he feeds from her. At the hospital, dawn is approaching, and Dr. Nicolescu says that the sun sends the vampires back into a death state.
What's wrong with her?
As the dawn approaches, the vampire reverts to a state resembling death.
Which we've seen, because when Michelle was found in the bathtub, they thought she was dead, so they threw her in a body bag. So we know that they're like out. They're very vulnerable, and they cannot rise. The doctor draws blood from her as she's falling into her sleep for testing. He assures Michelle that they will seal the doors so that she's safe, and that night they will begin treatments. Anna asks Dr. Nicolescu if he can really cure her, and he says, "I may be able to have her move about in the day, but she will always be a vampire." Then he says, "We need to prepare for her master to come looking for her." Then he leads Anna into his apartment and pours her a drink, and he puts something in her drink. He explains that his anti-aging medicine may have resulted in him being laughed out of Bucharest, but he believes in what he does. We find out that he seduced her when she was his student, and their relationship ended when he moved on to a new student. So what a winner he is. Then she passes out from whatever he put in the drink. He cuts her thigh and drinks her blood, and then we see that he is a vampire. The sun rises and he injects something into himself, which results with him being able to be in the sun. So that's an interesting little thing that just happened. At the police station, everyone's looking for Marin, but they can't find him until they open a coat closet and see him curled up on the floor. They think he's drunk, but he's trying to say that he's sick. He runs out into the city trying to find shelter and then climbs down into a tomb and curls up to sleep. But someone comes along and locks the entrance to the tomb. So, let's talk about this for a second. So we saw that the vampires cannot wake during the day. And we also just saw him running in the sun, but he's like covering himself up with a coat, but still he's in the sun. So that tells me the turn has begun, but it hasn't completely, he's not completely turned. So we saw that with Michelle. The next day, her reflection was starting to fade, but she could still see it, and the bite marks were still there. So that tells me it takes a few days for the turn to really kick in. Dr. Nicolescu is analyzing Michelle's blood to see evidence of the bloodstone, which they want to unlock the secret of the Fountain of Youth. They've compiled some weapons just in case Radu shows up. We see Radu and Serena awake, and she asks him to take her out into the night and hunt with her since Ash will not let her hunt. He's like, "Go back to your master, you're not my fledgling." So she slinks away. Ash is having a temper tantrum on the piano when Serena returns. And says, "We need to kill him." So Serena is a bit of a shit stirrer. She really likes to cause problems. Ash says, "Don't meddle with his affairs. He is insane." She wants to get the bloodstone for herself, but he's like, "You're no match for him."
You are no match for him. We must find a mortal with the will to destroy him.
Radu goes out to hunt, and Ash tells Serena follow him, which she does. Radu hears Marin pounding on the locked tomb entrance, so Radu sets him free and says, I am your master, so tell me where Michelle is. He says, I don't know, but there is a witness who might. Back at the hospital, Dr. Nicolescu says he's going to draw Michelle's blood, filter it, and put it back into her, and the process looks extremely archaic. Meanwhile, Serena feeds from Marin. Radu shows up at the hospital demanding to speak to the man in charge. A nurse tells Dr. Nicolescu that Radu is outside, and Michelle panics, so they sedate her. Then he and Anna go out to talk to Radu. Radu says, you have my child. She cries out in pain. Let me in to save her, and I will let you all live. But Anna and Dr. Nicolescu say no, and then he asks for the bloodstone. And Radu says, who came before you?
Who came before you? Ash, the music lover. I am before Ash.
And the doctor says, Ash. Radu says, I came before him. I have lived 1,000 years. Open your gates and I will give you 3 drops from the bloodstone. And then they let him in. Pause. I love when they say, who came before you, to ask who is your maker. I love that. I actually think I used it in my books because I freaking love that phrase. Who came before you? I love that. So Radu is let in, and he's surrounded by men with UV flashlights, and Dr. Nicolescu is flinging holy water at him and says, give me the stone, and then they spear him to the ground. Michelle can feel all of this, so that tells us that, at least when they're new, that fledglings can feel their master's pain or presence. That being said, Michelle's confusing, right? Because Radu turned her, but then Stefan turned her too. So maybe because Stefan is dead, Radu's blood took over and he truly is her master. I don't know. That one's confusing. Anywho, she shadow flies out to him. She approaches him and he reminds her that his blood runs within hers. The doctors are begging her to back off, but she says, free me, to Radu. Free me and I will set you free. She pulls the spear from him and shadow flies away. Before he flies, he tells the doctors, you're going to pay for this.
Be a bloodbath.
I saved your life, Radu. I've earned my freedom.
You will pay for this in suffering.
Serena arrives and says, do you wish to bring down Radu? I will tell you where he sleeps if you promise to destroy him before this day is done. He sleeps in the Vladislav tomb from 1875. She gives him the key to his underground city that the vampires all live in, that we saw in Vampire Journals. And she gives them directions to exactly where he is and how to kill him. Stake him, cut off his head, carry the head out into the sunlight. Don't hesitate. Do not explore the underground city. So we have our directions. Michelle is in Bucharest, and so is Radu. She cries at the entrance of a church, and a woman approaches asking if she's okay, walking her away from the church, but Michelle feeds on her instead, and Radu watches the whole thing. He tells her that if she comes to him, he can share the bloodstones so she doesn't have to keep feeding off humans. But she's still fighting and runs, coming across these sweet young lovers, and she can't help herself. She attacks the man. Radu shows up attacking the woman. So now they're hunting and feeding together. And again, she is crying about her kill. Girl, stop. Radu sweet talks her some more about letting go of her mortality and pain and weakness. And now we're back with Ash. He's feeding from more girls with their boobs out. Serena comes home and tells Ash that Radu should be dead by the end of the day. She explains that the key will let the mortal in, but not out.
I sabotage the mechanism. The key works from the outside, but it's broken from within. She will destroy Vladislas for us and be trapped in the labyrinth.
And when the sun sets, we can ravish her.
Anna will kill Radu and then be stuck with the vampires so they can feed from her and take the bloodstone, and Radu will be dead, so it's a win-win-win-win. Awesome. Apparently, the vampires call Dr. Niculescu Dr. Blood, which I now want to go by, because what is the point of earning a doctorate if I can't be Dr. and then something really cool? So instead of Dr. Nazari, I want to be Dr. Blood.
He is spawned from our blood, Serena. But he has altered himself with science.
Ash is telling Serena that Dr. Niculescu is called Dr. Blood and that he's altered himself with science, and that's how he's able to be out in the sun and touch holy water. Radu shows up with Michelle and says, I'm here to take this sanctuary and money back. What is yours is mine. You have it until the full moon and then get out. Ash pulls out a sword, which apparently belonged to a vampire hunter, but Radu takes it from him and reminds Ash that he stole it from Radu in the first place.
The blade of Laertes.
The vampire slayer is mine.
You stole it from me, Ash. In the Black Plague.
You cannot force me from my lair, Radu. You are not my master.
Then he takes Michelle into her new resting place and feeds from her before they call it a night. It's just so romantic. Oh my. Anna's been drugged again and wakes up kind of messed up, stumbling around the hospital only to find Dr. Blood feeding from a woman's boob. So she freaks out and he explains that it wasn't his choice. It was forced on him and he only drinks enough to live. He also promises to help her kill Radu. They take a body bag in the hopes that they can save Michelle. Down in the ancient city below the city, or whatever this thing is, they find Radu and Michelle preparing to spear and behead him, but Radu and Michelle wake up. Niculescu offers up Anna to Radu like she's a pizza that he just brought. So Radu says, go ahead and drink from the bloodstone. While the doctor is headed over to the bloodstone, Radu grabs the sword and chops off his head. Dude, I don't know how you fell for that one. Radu is such a bad guy. But also Dr. Blood was a bad guy too. Anna's running for the surface, but Radu gets her, and she's back in his chambers when she comes to. He wants Michelle to drink from Anna so she can finally get over, like, the whole not being able to kill without crying thing. She hesitates, so Radu decides he'll drink instead, and when he's distracted, Michelle sticks the axe into his throat. Anna finishes the job, totally decapitating him. They light his body on fire, then carry his head out and the bloodstone out.
Take his head out into the sunlight.
You're coming with me, Michelle. We've got the bloodstone. You're going to be all right now.
Serena comes and spits on his body as it burns. Michelle is struggling to make it to the top because the sun is rising. They make it, only the door is locked. So Ash and Serena arrive to feed and get the bloodstone, and then some old lady at the cemetery hears the screams and unlocks the doors as the vampires are about to attack. And so she opens the door and it sends the sun in and it sends them back into the dark. Anna tells Michelle, stay right by the door. They grab a coffin, they put her in it, and they roll her away. And then they stick Radu's head on like a spike that's part of the outdoor fencing, and it's burning in the sun. Credits. So at this point in time, I had binged 1 through 4 all in one night, and I had not seen 5 yet because it just came out in 2023 and I had not seen it yet. I didn't even know it existed till Tony told me about it. So I was like, okay, I have to go to bed. I'm so tired. But I was watching this, and the head is like burning on the stake, and his body's burning down in the dungeons. And I was like, how the are they bringing this guy back? So if you don't know, you'll have to join me next week to see what happens in Subspecies 5. But can we talk about some inconsistencies? So in the vampire journals, why am I blanking on his name? I wanted to say Sebastian, but that's not it. Zachary. Zachary shows up to kill Ash. Zachary has the Sword of Laertes. And Ash is like, that was stolen from me. And then at the end of that, Zachary kills Ash. He burns up in the sun. So like I said, Ash goes into the sun and he dies within seconds. So I don't understand why Michelle can be in the sun. She just has a stupid seizure. But, so if he dies at the end of Vampire Journals, how can he be in Subspecies 4 with the sword that he took back from Zachary? That doesn't make sense, because Radu says, well, you took it from me 600 years ago. So if he's encountered Zachary to get the sword back, then how is he there? And then in Vampire Journals, Zachary talks about his maker, Serena, who he killed. And then he went after Ash because Ash was Serena's maker. But then in this one, Serena is next to Ash. So I'm just like, is it 2 different Serenas? That's kind of like, I don't know, what are the odds of that? So that whole timeline doesn't make sense. So the thing is like, it doesn't make sense to me that Ash dies in the end and then he shows up in the city under the city in Subspecies 4. But again, I don't think they ever expected someone like me to sit down and break down the whole universe and the rules and the timeline and the characters. But here we are, and I'm doing it. And the whole thing is so frustrating. And then the actor who plays Dr. Blood was the actor who played one of Ash's proteges in Vampire Journals. So are we just supposed to ignore the fact that they look identical? I guess so, because wait until we talk about Subspecies 5. I'll tell you. Oh my goodness, this whole thing exhausts me. So we didn't learn too much new in this one. I do love the idea of a scientist using science to kind of like partly cure his vampirism. Obviously, I use that in my books. So I do love that idea. So I love the idea of Dr. Blood. Not a big fan of him like drugging his former student who he also slept with when she was a student and then drinking from her. So I don't think Dr. Blood is not the good one, and nor is Radu. There's like really no good guys in this whole thing. It is an absolute bummer the way that they killed off Becky and Mel, but they couldn't get the actors back. It is what it is. So they decided to just have a convenient car accident, I guess, which is such a bummer. I feel like they could have written it so much better, but that's what we got. So this is it for Subspecies 4. We have one more to talk about next week, and then after that we will talk about Decadent Evil 1 and 2. But hopefully you guys have really enjoyed this. If you made it to the end, put Dr. Blood in the comments. I will have to start going by Dr. Blood because it's so cool. It makes me think of Dr. Satan from House of a Thousand Corpses. It is so humid here. I'm really hoping this storm is going to cut through this humidity. But thank you guys so much for following me on this journey. Let me know if you're having fun with this, or if you would rather me just do it all in one big video if I'm going to do a series again. These are nice quick watches, so it helps, but make sure you're following me on Instagram to see if I was able to write my book. I will join you back here next week for Subspecies 5. And then the week after that for Decadent Evil 1 and 2. And then we have done it. We've talked about the whole full moon vampire universe, it is quite the task to be undertaking. All right, guys, I love you. Thank you so much for coming here. Thank you for allowing me to do this every week. I love talking about vampires. I wish you wicked hugs and bloody kisses. Good evening.
And big finish. Thank you.